under pressure and missing in action, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese today said sorry to the Jewish community.
As Prime Minister, I feel the weight of responsibility for an atrocity that happened whilst I'm Prime Minister. And I'm sorry for what the Jewish community and our nation as a whole has experienced. The government will work every day to protect Jewish Australians, to protect the fundamental right as Australians that they have to be proud of who they are, to practice their faith, to educate their children and to engage in Australian society in the fullest way possible.
So now he says he's sorry. Better late than never, but call me cynical. I don't believe him. The timing of this sorry moment feels incredibly insincere. There's been 2 years of inaction while Jews feared for their lives, synagogues were firebombed, hate was spewed, culminating in the deaths of 15 innocent people. He's continued to ignore the real reason behind the massacre, radical Islam. He won't even acknowledge it, so there goes him doing anything about it. He refuses to acknowledge community anger about the multicultural experiment failing via some people who've been brought into this country whose values are incompatible with our own. So this apology feels like a snap PR directive on self-survival from the Stakeholder Relations Department, especially after his disastrous appearance at the Night of Unity Vigil in Bondi last night, where thousands of Aussies gathered to remember those murdered a week ago.
Blood on your hands! Blood on your hands!
The Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese. New South Wales Premier, Chris Minns. Who has not missed a funeral, a synagogue service, or an opportunity to be with the Jewish community this week. Thank you, Chris, for your leadership.
Get out of here!
Anthony Albanese failed his public test last night. He was always going to, and that's why he would not go back to the memorial after having only been once early last Monday. It's all about optics. And this goes beyond politics, by the way. This is anger over a lack of accountability and lack of action on anti-Semitism for more than 2 years. Now, 15 innocent people are dead, and the Prime Minister found out in real time last night how the community feels about him and his government. His offer to speak at the memorial was rejected, and so the Prime Minister had all of last week to apologise, to admit his failures. He's had the last 2 years to stamp out anti-Semitism. So the timing of today's apology just feels like it was done out of self-preservation, to patch up the national embarrassment that was made of him last night. And sorry means absolutely nothing, Prime Minister, without action. How can you say sorry and that you will work every day to protect Jewish Australians when you can't even prevent what you refuse to investigate? It's a no from Labor to a federal royal commission into the Bondi massacre, the highest level of independent inquiry, and the Prime Minister said no. Now, just think about that. Anthony Albanese said no to the most comprehensive level of investigation into the worst terror attack on home soil, the mass murder of Jews in our country, to get to the bottom of what happened and to make sure it never happens again, to stand side by side with the Jewish community and do something about anti-Semitism, radical Islam and its scourge on this country. A 10-year-old girl was murdered on a beach, for goodness sake. It should be a no-brainer. And the Prime Minister said no, instead deciding to opt for a review led by former Intelligence Chief Dennis Richardson, based out of the Prime Minister's own department. It's an internal review, which really calls into question the Prime Minister's own admission last week that he could have done more.
It is clear we need to do more to combat this evil scourge, much more. What we know is that there's more that we can do. Is there more that can be done? There is always more that can be done, always. And quite clearly, there's more to do.
How can he look at Australians in the eye and say that? How can he then say sorry when all he's called for is a limited inquiry? Does he think he can just wish this away, sleep through the summer, wake up when Parliament resumes next year and hope it's all blown over? Well, newsflash, Anthony Albanese, this is just the start, because this won't give Jews any level of reassurance. Labor's called for multiple royal commissions, like into aged care and the banking sector. But when 15 innocent people are slaughtered, it's a no? I mean, here was the Prime Minister ducking and weaving today.
We want urgency and unity, not division and delay. We have commenced already the Richardson Review. Dennis Richardson met today with the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet. We wanted him as well to have input into his terms of reference, and that is why that work began today. The New South Wales Government have announced a Royal Commission, and the federal government will cooperate fully with that.
What is the PM afraid of? And this is not about a witch hunt, by the way. It's a moral imperative. It's about making sure Jews and Australians feel safe in their own country. Would a Royal Commission? Maybe it will be uncomfortable for Labor, probably. But do you know what's uncomfortable? Running for your life from the gunfire of 2 alleged jihadi sympathisers. And surely that is the risk Labor would and should take when an attack of this magnitude occurs on home soil. And this is the only way to intrinsically examine every angle of Bondi, government response, the lead-up, what happened, how it can be prevented, radical Islam, the foothold it has in Australia, immigration policy, the threat that poses to our values, the role of security and law enforcement, what warnings were ignored and failures in intelligence. And while Labor dithers, the Coalition has released the draft terms of reference for a commission, a Royal Commission.
Now, the Prime Minister must look past the jeers directed at him last night and hear the cries. He must put aside his pride and take action. He has failed to respond appropriately to this terrible attack. But there is still an opportunity to get it right.
I don't want to see the memories of the 15 Australians who died last Sunday. I don't want to see their memories being desecrated by this half-measured departmental review that is proposed by this Prime Minister. We need nothing short of a Royal Commission now.
Yeah, very strong words. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns has even announced a New South Wales-based Royal Commission and has indicated he is expecting the cooperation of federal partners like the AFP and ASIO.
It clearly needs to examine closely the inputs that led to this anti-Semitic act of hate. What happened in the lead up to that? It's my strong belief that anti-Semitism, racism more generally, starts with words and then it becomes action. So absent an investigation into anti-Semitism, it's not going to make sense. It's not going to be a big piece of the jigsaw puzzle that we need to put together.
And Chris Minns is exposing himself by announcing a Royal Commission, but not the Prime Minister. Former Chief Justice Robert French and ex-Intelligence Chief Nick Warner have added their voices to a Royal Commission, a point echoed by former AFP officer David Craig.
I can't think of one reason why there shouldn't be a National Royal Commission, a Commonwealth Royal Commission. I was personally a Royal Commission investigator in New South Wales into the New South Wales police corruption back in the 90s. I know how effective it is, but it's only effective statewide. We need a Commonwealth Royal Commission if we want to actually find out what went on, who knew what, who actioned what the government was told, and what they did with that information. And there's a range more questions that need to be answered because this isn't just about Bondi. This is the 2 years leading up to Bondi.
Even Labor MPs Ed Husick and Mike Freelander have broken ranks, calling for a Royal Commission. And that's why Anthony Albanese's apology today feels insincere, because actions speak louder than words. He's avoided Bondi for a week, goes back, gets booed, apologises, but still won't act. And the Prime Minister thinks that this will all be magically solved via an internal inquiry, a gun buyback scheme strengthening hate speech laws, while still refusing to front up to the real problem.
And you cannot fix a problem, Prime Minister, if you are not prepared to name it. We will know this Prime Minister is serious about tackling anti-Semitism when he names it for what it is. It's not the gun, it's Islamic extremism and it's in our suburbs. And for too long, we've papered over that reality in some hope of, this multicultural nirvana.
And look, she's not wrong. Once again today, the Prime Minister couldn't even bring himself to call out radical Islam. Jews have been murdered, and you at home bear the consequences through restrictive and ad hoc laws under Labor's multiculturalism experiment. The Prime Minister can call out anti-Semitism. That's not brave, it's a cop-out. Calling out the real issue, radical Islam, is what leaders do. Look at the parents of youngest victim Matilda, who were inconsolable at last night's vigil in each other's arms as Waltzing Matilda was played in her honour at the memorial. No parent should ever have to bury their child. Is this not enough for you, Anthony Albanese? And I've got to say, there was a touching moment last night that reminded us of who we are. Have a look.
We are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australia.
We are Australian, but some don't want to be. And it's those people who are most dangerous to us. Call a Royal Commission Prime Minister, correct the course, or your apology is worthless.